All right. Hello and welcome back to the College Football Best Bets video here on the Degenerate YouTube channel. I'm DGen, that's Steak. We are presented by Pickett Sports as always. Download Pickett, sync your sports books, track your wagers, use promo code DGen whenever you do. Also, line shop, spare yourself the carpal tunnel. I'm not a doctor. I'm just kidding about that part. Anyways, Steak, it's week 10. We do have our newsletter that you can subscribe to, thedegenerateweekly.com for free. We send out our favorite bets. Last week we went 2-3. I think we got a little fucked with Missouri's quarterback getting injured, but regardless, I think we're also done fading Diego Pavia. We have 5 plays this week we will talk about. However, we have some other ones that we like as well. Those are just usually the ones that we align on. So without further ado, let's get into it. I feel like it's a tough board, but that's also probably because I can't see the board well. I looked at my Pickett calendar in October. I didn't have a profitable Saturday once. So has a little bit to do with not flat betting. I don't bet one unit across the board. I increase my units, and 3 units on a Texas team total and 5 units on a Penn State will definitely kick you in the nuts. Let's get into it. There's a couple games tonight and Friday. We're not going to go over those again. Right out of the gate, noon. Slate has been treating us pretty well. We have what looked like on paper to start the season a good matchup. It's not really so much anymore. Ohio State 20.5 at home against Penn State, total 44.5. You don't have anything on this game. I do, but do you have any thoughts at all on this matchup?
Yeah, I'm not blaming Ohio State. Like I said, in hindsight, playing Texas to start the season and then having Penn State on your schedule looked tough. It just ended up not being very tough. You want to toss Michigan being pretty mediocre in there. And this is a really easy schedule. It doesn't matter because they're the defending national champions and they will get an opportunity to prove it in the playoffs again. I know a lot of people think Julian Sayin is better than Will Howard. I just want to put a kibosh on one thing. You cannot give Julian Sayin the Heisman. Not with this defense, not with Jeremiah Smith. Not with this competition. That guy cannot win the Heisman. I see he's 4-1 right now. I think that's a fucking insane overreaction. This kid cannot win the Heisman Trophy.
Okay, that's interesting. I think you make a pretty fair point. Who's ahead of him? It's Ty Simpson. It's Fernando Mendoza. Is that it?
Marcel Reed and him are tied.
Marcel Reed being tied with Julian.
All day over Julian Sayin. I would give Marcel Reed that award.
Okay, I don't necessarily disagree with you. I understand. Marcel Reed has a little bit more of that college quarterback playmaker ability in him. Obviously, that 41-yard touchdown run against LSU was incredible, but he also misses a lot of throws. Let's not forget, I think he was like 19 of 39 against Notre Dame. Julian Sayin would not be 19 of 39. I don't know if he's ever had a completion percentage below 50. Yeah. So maybe he would make more throws, but he's not really exciting. So I kind of understand where you're coming from with that. Pretty fair take. I'm curious to hear what anybody has in the chat. By the way, on that note, we're only a few minutes in, so hopefully we didn't lose anybody. Like the video, subscribe to the YouTube page, and leave a comment also and tell me why my wager is going to be shit, because I'm going Penn State plus the point stake. Not only that, don't stop there. I'm taking Penn State to win the game.
Ballsy. I respect it.
Listen, I'll make it super quick. I just feel like Ohio State is capable of slipping up. Capable.
Yeah.
And in a weird way, as much as you again, preseason, you look at this matchup and you're fired up to be hosting Penn State, you also have to kind of you're feeling yourself. You know you're the top dog. Penn State, are you almost kind of overlooking them?
Yeah.
Just like they were overlooking Michigan.
Yeah.
And I'll leave it at that.
Yes. And I'll tell you what, I like it. And I'll just add this. If I'm the coach at Penn State, I hope the speech goes something like this. You have nothing left to lose. There's nothing that could happen in this game negatively that makes this season any worse. You guys are supposed to win a national championship. Your quarterback was supposed to win the Heisman. Now you're 3-4. You're playing Ohio State, who is supposed to curb stomp you, and you have nothing to lose. You 100% have to play like you have nothing to lose. I like your play.
Okay. All right. This is a best bet video. It's really about the bets that we're taking. I'm telling you that I'm going to have money on Penn State. Am I trying to talk, excuse me, my friends into it? Not necessarily. Let me go this one alone. Okay, here's a noon play that we are on. We're on West Virginia, plus 13.5. West Virginia's terrible. They're 2-6 straight up. They're 0-4 on the road. They're 1-3 ATS on the road. They're 4-4 ATS on the season. But Steak, we're going to go ahead and fade Houston here. They're 7-1, 6-2 ATS. it just kind of has to be done. I think you and I both talked about it when we looked at the schedule or the slate earlier this week. They're coming off of not only an outright win as an underdog against Arizona State, which was huge, 7.5 points on the road. They also beat Arizona the week before as a 2-point underdog. Back-to-back wins as underdogs. Now you're a big favorite. It just kind of fits that mold of those spots that we like to play and get nasty with. So I'm at peace with it. I feel okay with it. Even at the end of the day, we fast forward and Houston beats the shit out of West Virginia. It feels like a button that we have to press, right?
Yeah, and I'll be honest, this is like the exact opposite of what I just said. I feel like if you're the coach for Houston, you're like, you have everything to lose. You have an outside shot at the playoff right now. You're still in it for a Big 12 championship.
Right,
You're
right.
7-1. And the only thing you're thinking is just get out of this one alive. Get out of this one alive. You know you're better than West Virginia. Everybody's been dog walking West Virginia. Everybody they play dog walks them. And I think you could get tight shoulders on this Houston team. And I think it could be a lot closer than people expect. And I think they're baiting you with 13.5. I think 13.5 is bait to me, and 48.5 total is telling too. I don't know that Houston's going to score all that much in this game.
Right. Okay. Couple more games on the noon slate that I think are worth talking about. Not Illinois, Rutgers. Army Air Force is probably, we respect the troops, but no, I don't think we're going to get down on that. Just quickly, I don't think you have anything on this, but we should probably touch on it. Clemson, 3.5-point favorites at home against Duke. I do have a wager on Duke under wins, so I'm hoping that Clemson can pull one out of their ass here. They're 3-4. I played them. God, who was that fucking? Yeah, SMU. I played them after I believe it was Klubnik got hurt and there was the backup starting. They lost 35-24 as 3.5-point favorites against SMU. Now they're coming out of a bye. I think historically Dabo's pretty good at coming out of bye weeks. Duke's also coming off a bye after everybody was on them and they got their ass kicked to. Oh, I'm forgetting who beat them up pretty good. Georgia Tech. Can Clemson win this game, and can they cover?
No. Oh, well, can they? Yes, of course. Do I think they're going to? No,
right.
Sorry. They didn't get their ass kicked by Georgia Tech. I want to be clear. They lost that game themselves. They beat themselves as many ways as you can. They probably should have won, but it doesn't matter because that's what they do this year. Before that, they were putting together some nice wins against shitty competition. I think Duke still has a little hope to turn out a decent season. It all obviously rests on a win here. Clemson's season is a failure anyway. You slice it. They could win out. No one would give a shit. It's Duke or nothing for me here, but it didn't make my card. I definitely wasn't going to try to pitch it to you for the newsletter either because you got Duke under wins. For me, it's Duke or nothing. I also just think Duke is better than Clemson at this point.
Yeah, that's fair. That's more than fair. All right, another ACC matchup. Miami's on the road against SMU, 11.5, 12, depending on where you look. Initially, I thought about attacking SMU here, Steak, because this is Miami's first trip outside of the state of Florida. We talked about that in the offseason, but almost forgot about that. Two things. Missouri not playing a road game until 6 weeks through the season, and now Miami not leaving the state of Florida until 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, their 8th game of the season. So they are they're 6-1. They're 5-2 ATS. I played them against Stanford. It was 7-7 in the first half, despite Stanford losing or missing 4 of their starters. Miami woke up in the second half, though.
Correct.
So that's what I like to see. And the more I think about it, I think that this is an obvious spot to fade Miami. I think SMU sucks.
I do too. They just lost to Wake Forest. It's a pretty bad loss for a team that was in the college football playoff last year or whatever they were. I think it's an obvious spot to fade Miami because no one likes Miami.
Yeah.
And, almost every team in the country has a loss this year. But when Miami lost that game against Louisville and Beck threw those 4 interceptions, I mean, everything plummeted. Everybody jumped off the train. Like, no one's jumped off a train more than everybody jumped off that Miami train after that loss. So, yes, I do think there will be people tapping SMU plus 10.5. A lot of people, even though they did just lose to Wake Forest. Doesn't mean I like Miami, though, to be honest.
Okay. All right. That's fair. I might play Miami something. And you're so right. I couldn't believe it because I heard all the talking heads like, this is the Carson Beck we know, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, man, it was a bad game. No doubt. He threw 4 interceptions, but
they hate him.
Before that, we were all talking about, oh, Carson Beck always had it in him and he just needed to change the scenery and blah, blah, blah. This Miami team's really fucking good. Yep. Really fucking good. And I think I think that loss and I think that sluggish first half against an inferior opponent where they were 30-point favorites, that response in the second half is exactly what you want to see. So I think they go in, they take this very seriously, and they're up from the start. So I like Miami in this game. Okay, another noon game that, again, I don't know that we have anything on have to talk about. Texas is hosting Diego Pavia, a guy that I said I'm done fading. We always say don't bend, don't break. To me, it feels like now is the time to take Texas. You just had that crazy win at Mississippi State. You survived Kentucky 13-10. You survived Mississippi State 45-38. Now you're home playing Vanderbilt. Could this just be where everything comes together for Texas?
Can't get there, man. And honestly, I'm going to be honest with you, bro. I just want to go out on my own solo mission, kamikaze, whatever you want to call it, and take Vanderbilt. I want to bet Vanderbilt.
I don't know that you're going to be a solo mission, though.
You say that. You go find. You could post it on Twitter right now. Ask if anyone's on Vanderbilt, or say, give me a side, and then put Vanderbilt plus 3.5 or Texas minus 3.5 and see how much Texas love you get. And Arch Manning is a game time decision. A lot of people saying they like the backup better, but not that surprising because Arch Manning's been terrible, but surprising when you consider the fact the hype this guy had to start the year. Just when you come out of this game and Vanderbilt wins outright, just don't be surprised.
I'm not fucking doing it. I'm not doing it because Texas to me is a bad team.
Yeah.
Vanderbilt is a good team.
Yeah.
But sometimes the bad teams beat the good teams.
Maybe, you know? But let me just say this. Like, people are trying to make it seem like sharp, like Texas seems sharp. But when you really break it down, it is the University of Texas against Vanderbilt in Austin.
Yeah.
There's no way you can convince me Texas is some kind of like sharp angle.
No, you're right. I'm looking at the picket splits, by the way, which are pretty even. So, but the picket splits are one thing, and the you know the streets are different.
Yep.
So we should put a poll out there. All right. Last thing I want to talk to you about or ask you about at noon, and then we'll keep moving, is Baylor. Are you done with Baylor? They're 4-4. They're at home. Stake, they're only -3 against UCF. UCF is 0-2 on the road, but I didn't realize this. Baylor is 1-7 ATS. So I'm wondering what you can really make them, but 3 points against UCF seems so short for Baylor at home.
Yeah, it's because Vegas had to react because Baylor's been so bad, just got their ass kicked by Cincinnati, who I think is underrated still. It's UCF or nothing. Baylor's really fucking bad. And I think this line is trying to tell you that. Like, they're trying to get any type of money they can on Baylor. You know, and they wouldn't have got money on Baylor if they would have made this Baylor -6.5, because that's what you would have expected the spread to be. With Sawyer Robinson and Bryce Washington, you would have thought for sure this team would be favored at home by at least a touchdown over UCF. And 3.5 is short, and I like UCF. I'll probably take them.
Wow. No, I don't know. Taking UCF on the road is ballsy. I'll give you that. Iowa State 7.5 against Arizona State. Backup quarterback sounds like his plan for Arizona State. You like anything there?
Sam Levitt out for the season. And obviously Rocco Beckton, Iowa State just burned everyone against BYU. It looks like BYU will never lose a football game or not cover a spread again.
No shit.
I don't like anything in this game. Jeff Sims is terrible. I'm not going back to Iowa State. I'm just going to really hope and pray that Arizona State keeps losing football games so we can hit our win total.
Under 8.5. Yep. All right. Louisville's in Virginia Tech, 3:00 slate. Here we go. I said this earlier when we talked about college football. I'm sick of Virginia Tech. They were 6.5-point favorites against Cal. They almost lost the game. They came back. They covered in overtime. Congrats to anybody who pushed that button and had that wager. You won. The Hokies, to me, they're dead, in my opinion. This team stinks. If it wasn't for their
sure dead.
Yeah. If it wasn't for Metallica entrance, I don't think anybody would give a fuck. They may as well be Old Dominion. They need a whole makeover, this team. Louisville's in there. Louisville is 6-1. They still haven't looked all that great. They're only 2-5 ATS. They're laying 10.5. I lean Louisville in that game. I doubt we have anything, but I just wanted to mention that there might be a chance Louisville makes my card.
I pretty strongly lean Louisville too. I do not think anyone's lining up at the counter to bet 2-5 ATS Louisville. Double-digit favorites in Blacksburg. I get what you're saying, but just to your casual gambler, this is considered to be a tough place to play. And I just see how anyone feels super comfortable with the Louisville team that, like, even after the Miami game, no one's like, oh, so Louisville's good now? No one said that. They said Carson Beck stinks. and he was threw 4 horrible interceptions. Yep. Nobody came out of that game thinking Louisville was good, and they haven't had very many impressive performances for a 6-1 team, which 2-5 against the spread, I guess, tells you that.
Yep. All right. Totally agree. Your Florida Gators, 3:30, the largest cocktail party against the Georgia Bulldogs. Georgia 7. The total is 50.5 here. Steak, I tried to talk you into getting down on Georgia. Oh, I'm sorry, to get down on Florida. It doesn't sound like you're going to do it. You rarely bet on your Florida Gators, but you will do it. You will do it. You're not a hard out on it. I think it's the Gators here, and I'm just not sold on Georgia. I think the Gators can put up some fight. I think they've shown some fight. Billy Napier is gone. He was a horrible head coach. But just looking at Georgia, you beat Kentucky. You lost Alabama. You survived in overtime against Tennessee. You were losing the whole game, basically. You were losing and got gifted a lot of things from the refs on the road against Auburn. It's not a very good Auburn team. You won 20-10. And then you beat Ole Miss, but Ole Miss started the game going 5 for 5 on scoring touchdowns on their drives.
Yeah.
Until they stalled out late. I think that this Georgia team is not one that I would lay 7 with in a neutral site against a scrappy Gators team with a good defense. I like the Gators here.
Fine with it. I think this is the worst Georgia defense we've seen in a while. So if you're going to get the Gators, they have to go over their team total. That's all I'm going to tell you. Like, if the Gators aren't scoring, Gunnar Stockton will score enough to cover that spread. So if you like Florida, totally fine. I would say an equally good look is Florida team total over. I'm obviously not pressing anything in this game. I actually think Gunnar Stockton's a dog. I just don't have a lot of respect for this Georgia defense.
Okay. A couple more games in 3:30. Just quickly want to get your thoughts. I'm not going to touch on Notre Dame, Boston College. It's 28-point spread. Indiana 21 on the road against Maryland. Do you see yourself betting Maryland there? Because you kind of like the Terps.
I kind of like the Terps, but I don't know. Maybe we just leave Indiana the fuck alone.
Yep, I'm totally good with that. Texas Tech 7 on the road against Kansas State. I kind of like Kansas State, and we talked about it, but wouldn't it be funny if they just come out of their bye week and they fix some things? Because I really liked Chris Kleiman as a head coach, and God, they were awful to start this year. They were 1-2-3. They were 1-3. They almost lost to North Dakota. Out of the bye week, though, they beat UCF and covered the 6 points. They lost to Baylor, but they only lost 35-34. They beat TCU, beat the fuck out of a good TCU team, 41-28. Then they beat the fuck out of Kansas, 42-17. So I don't know. Maybe Texas Tech laying 7 is a lot of respect for a Kansas State team that's covered their last 4 games and looks totally different after this bye week. I kind of want to just lean into Kansas State here a little bit. Talk me off of it.
I won't talk you off. I could see them playing spoiler. I don't hate it. So Baron Morton got hurt, so Will Hammond came in. Will Hammond played really well. Then Will Hammond is now out for the year, and I believe Baron Morton is back. So just something to keep in mind.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't. It's not going to make my card, but I don't hate Kansas State in a spoiler spot. I do have a lot of respect for this Texas Tech team.
Very fair. All right, maybe I'll stay off of it. So you did a good job at that. Pitt is 14 on the road against Stanford. This is one of my bets. I put it in the newsletter. Steak has been talking to me about this Pitt quarterback. I like Pitt against FSU. Didn't play it. Not only did they cover the 10, but they won outright. This team has not slowed down. They just dropped a 50 burger. And I think that people are going to want to get cute fading Pitt here against Stanford before their bye week and before Notre Dame is on deck. I think it's the opposite. I think Pitt stays rolling, and you got a Stanford team that's coming back from playing Miami. People like this team at home. They're 3-0 at home, 2-1 ATS, but they've won twice as underdogs, and they've taken down Florida State as 17.5-point dogs. 14 for Stanford, I think, looks appealing here. I'm taking the Pitt Panthers. I like them big.
Totally fine with it. That's what I have to do to get you to watch Heinzel play quarterback. Totally, well, I'll take it. I think he's the absolute fucking man.
Arkansas 4.5 at home against Mississippi State. You and I both align on this one, and you love Mississippi State. You've been talking about it since the offseason, and you watched the SEC Netflix doc. Well, they had a good start to the season. They were 4-0 ATS. They've lost their last 4 games, but they've been tight. Yeah. They have been tight. Texas A&M was the largest one, 31-9. They lost in overtime to Tennessee, lost in overtime last week, gut-wrenching loss to Texas, and lost 23-21. Steak, this is a do theory game for me because Arkansas on the flip side has looked much better since they fired Sam Pittman. Mississippi State's due for an ass kicking. Arkansas is due for a good win.
Yeah,
we think they get it here.
I For me, it's the opposite of a do theory thing. For me, I think Mississippi State might be out of what's needed to keep playing these type of inspired football games because they were in field goal. Well, first of all, they could have beat Tennessee going to overtime. If you want to go back to that one, they were in field goal range, down 2 to the Gators. They throw an interception. They should have won that game at home. Would have been a huge win. Not that beating the Gators is that impressive, but if you're Mississippi State and you beat the Gators or you beat Texas or you beat Tennessee, those are huge wins, regardless of what their record is. And they do that. Then they follow that up by, at some point they're like minus 2,500 to beat Texas, right? At some point in that game, they were like something insane to beat
38-21, 10 minutes left.
It was bad. It was really, really bad meltdown. And you got Arkansas on the other end of it. Arkansas jumped out on Auburn early. I was like, oh God, here I am. I'm an idiot. I bet Auburn. And I pitched Auburn to everyone all week saying Arkansas can't play as favorites. And Arkansas did what you expect them to do. Auburn came back and won that game. Well, I think Arkansas maybe beats the brakes off Mississippi State in this one. 66.5. I don't know. Blake Shapen and the Bulldogs being able to keep up in this track meet with Taylon Green. I don't know, man. Don't see it.
Okay. The last couple of games with 60 totals for Arkansas, 34-31 Tennessee, Notre Dame, which was a horrible game, but 32-31 Memphis, 41-35 Ole Miss. The games do go over, and Arkansas tends to put up points outside of the Notre Dame game. So, all right. Yeah, I like Arkansas. I think that total is also telling you that they're going to score points.
Yeah.
I love Michigan. This is a smash spot for Michigan. A little bit more of a do theory here. They haven't really been that great in their last couple of home games. The last 2, they beat Wisconsin, but they didn't cover 24-10, kind of a disappointing game. They beat and did cover Washington 24-7. Then they go on the road. They put up 31 against Michigan State. That was a total with 47.5. The game goes over. They did not cover, but they come back, Steak. They come back home. This is their last home game until they go on the road twice, and then they come home to play Ohio State. They need to have a fun party. They need to have a party over there in Ann Arbor, and this is the game. And Purdue, on the other hand, they are running out of gas. This team started nice in the year, 2-0, played tough against USC, scored 30 against Notre Dame, had a pretty competitive game against Illinois. These last 3 opponents against Rutgers, Northwestern, and Minnesota, they had to get a win. They were 3-point favorites, 3-point dogs, 7-point dogs. They lost all of them.
Yep.
This team is going to go to Ann Arbor, and they're going to get their ass kicked. Michigan minus 21.5 is on my card.
I don't hate it because there's teams that belong on a list just waiting for the season to officially end. And after this last 4-game stretch from Purdue, you can definitely say that's them. Even putting up 24 on Rutgers is impressive because they have an awful defense and everyone puts up points with them. 19-0 to Northwestern is fucking terrible. Minnesota's terrible. You were right. They had to win one of those games. I think it's just get out. And 21.5, like, is anyone really lining up to take Michigan to cover a 21.5 point spread?
No.
Against
this is
opponent, I don't think they are.
This is a 48-7 type of game, in my opinion. We don't have it on our card or in our newsletter, but do you like anything in Ole Miss, South Carolina? Ole Miss is 12.5, totals 56.
Ole Miss. I like Ole Miss. I don't think South Carolina is going to play competitive again like they did against Alabama. I don't think Ole Miss gets any respect. I think the offense is a well-oiled machine as long as Lane Kiffin gets the fuck out of their way. And I actually know that might be a hot take, but Lane Kiffin gets in his own way sometimes. He does some dumb coaching things. Going for it against on 4th and 1 at your own 25 against Oklahoma was stupid. Bringing Austin Simmons in on your goal line package against Oklahoma was stupid when Trinidad Chambliss has just been so good. You can't take him out of the game. It's confusing to bring in Austin Simmons for a couple plays. It's stupid. Lane Kiffin needs to get out of his own way. If he does that, this offense is, like I said, a well-oiled machine, and I don't think South Carolina could keep up with them. This Ole Miss offense is even better than this Alabama offense, if I'm being honest.
Wow. Okay. Love it. Another SEC matchup. This one's you, and I like it. I like it. You're standing on business here. Yeah. Tennessee's -3 at home against Oklahoma. You've been saying it for weeks. You're not in on John Mateer. This needs to be the fall off for Oklahoma. Yep. After their nice 5-0 start, they're 6-2, running into a little bit of turbulence. You said Joey Aguilar over Mateer, right?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and pitch it like this. I think this is the most overrated quarterback in the SEC versus the most underrated quarterback in the SEC.
I like that.
So I'll stand on business that the most underrated quarterback at home, favored by a few points, is going to win. I do respect Oklahoma's defense. I really do. So I want to mention that. I don't think Oklahoma's dog shit, and I don't think John Mateer's dog shit. I just think he's overrated and fairly mid. And I think Joey Aguilar's underrated. 2,400 yards, 18 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Has them in every game. They move the ball every game. I like fucking Tennessee here, and you're right. I'm staying on business.
Okay. A couple more games, and then we're going to finish up nice and crispy here. Just a 30-minute video, which is great. In and out, in and out. Again, please make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube page and like that video. It helps the algorithm. Don't ask me why. FSU's 10-point favorites at home against Wake. Auburn is 11-point favorites at home against Kentucky. I don't have anything in either game. Do you?
Yeah, I'll go FSU. FSU seeking their first ACC win, I believe, in 2 years, right?
Oh, God.
Over 2 years.
They lost to Virginia.
They lost to Stanford.
Holy shit. We lost to Pitt.
Lost to Pitt.
Oh, this is it, huh?
Yeah. I think this might be a smash spot for FSU. I do think there's a lot of talent on that team. Don't know what the deal with Norvell is. Going 2-10 is pretty unacceptable at Florida State. I don't even know how that's possible. And this is a pretty unacceptable fucking year too. And you consider the fact that they were flying as high as anyone after beating Alabama week 1. But yeah, I like FSU smash spot here. I'm going to take it.
The Wake Forest team is 2-0 on the road straight up and 2-0 ATS. That's pretty unbelievable. Yeah.
They're impossible to fade. And I'm probably 0-3 fading. Well, no, I hit Kennesaw State, so I'm probably 1-3 fading Wake Forest this year.
USC is 6-point favorites on the road in Nebraska. Total is 59. Lincoln Riley versus Matt Rule. I want to go USC here so badly. I do not think Dylan Raiola is good. I think Maeva is a good quarterback. But I can't get on the right side of Nebraska, man. I just can't. What do you think?
Square over.
Square over? Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, USC's defense can be scored on.
I have more respect for Dylan Raiola than you do. I don't think he's great by any means. I'm not fucking freaking out about him. I just think he's very decent.
Okay. How about Georgia Tech on the road against NC State, 5.5-point favorites? I'm starting to think NC State might be a dog nobody's talking about this weekend that barks.
Georgia Tech gets no respect. Let's be honest. We don't respect them. Nobody respects them. They're the quietest 8-0 ever. A lot of their wins really aren't impressive. They should have lost to Wake Forest. They should have lost. You could argue they should have lost to Duke, but I won't go that far. They could have lost to Clemson. It's just nobody's impressed by Georgia Tech. Will I be surprised now that I think everyone's officially done talking about it and NC State's been pretty awful? And I mention every week, like if NC State gets it all together, they have the offense to compete with anybody. Will I be surprised if they upset them? No, but I sure as fuck won't be betting it.
Okay. Last couple of games here, Steak. Then we're going to shut it down. The Utah Utes are at home 10-point favorites against a very good Brandon Sorsby and Cincinnati team. They're 7-1 straight up, 6-2 ATS. Would you consider laying 10 with Utah here?
I like both these teams a lot. I think you know that we like both these teams. I hyped up Utah having a good bounce back year, and obviously we've basically been following Javon's Sorsby thing since last year. So I don't, I look at this and I'm alarmed by the spread. I'm alarmed, and it makes me think it's a Utah smash spot. But the last time I did something like this, it was when Wisconsin was 9.5-point favorites against Maryland, and I said oh, that spread's insane. Now don't get me wrong, Wisconsin is dog shit and Utah is actually good. But people were saying the same thing, freshman quarterback going into a really tough place to play. I know Sorsby's not a freshman, but they're saying, Cincinnati has to go to Utah at night. That's such a tough place for them to play. And you know what, man? I'm going back and forth on this one because the line read is definitely saying Utah, but just football brain is actually saying Cincinnati could very well compete in this football game.
Okay. Last one. A 2-5 San Jose State team is favored against a 6-2 Hawaii team. Anything?
No.
Okay. All right. Look at that. 29 minutes and 20 seconds. Fucking well done, Steak. Let's get some green on this Saturday. It's going to be a new month, November 1st. Again, download Pickett, sync your sports books, promo code DJ, and whatever you do. Follow us on there. He's Steak Friend with 2 A's. I'm the _degenerate. Thank you very much for tuning in. Good luck on all your wagers, and we'll see you next time. Take it easy.